Welcome everybody to another chess video, and yes, I know what you're thinking. I have not put a video out in a very long time, and I apologize for that sincerely because there have just been things in life that have stopped me from doing that, or I've just been too lazy, or a combination of the two. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys some three opening traps. Three opening traps of how you can trap your opponent into winning material and being able to win the game much easier. How you can in the lower rated, when you're more low rated, when you're not as good as professionals. When you're low rated, these traps can help you win a lot of games because more than likely your opponent will not know how to defend against them. So three traps. We will begin that, and yes, once again, I am beginning right now to continue on with the one video a week. I have not been able to keep up with that, as I just said, but now we're back again. And we're going to continue with the one video a week. So let's go to the chessboard and let us explore these three opening traps. I'm going to do another openings video later on with three more opening traps. Okay, so the first three opening traps. Let us go to the chessboard. All right, we are at the chessboard. So here we have the pieces, obviously, and the beginning of a chessboard of a chess match is set up. The two armies poised for combat. Let's begin. So the first trap is known as the accelerated London system trap. So I mean, that's what I call it. I don't prefer you call it that. I just prefer you calling it, I don't know. You can call it whatever you want, okay? Call it the bishop f4, knight c3, knight b5, knight c7. No, just kidding. Just call it whatever you want, okay? Come up with a fun name for it. The zippity-doo-dah, for example. I don't know, okay? So d4 is the move. So this trap is a trap that white will play on black, okay? And I'll give you some traps that black will play on white and some traps white will play on black, okay? So we will begin with white making the first move, d4. White is going to be the one trapping black. It's not going to be a win. You're not going to win the game by this trap, but you're going to get a lot of material so that you can win the game more easily because you have more pieces than they do, okay? d4, pawn to d4 is the first move you should play. Now, the overwhelmingly massive response, there are knight to f6 at higher levels, but usually d5 you're going to meet to d4, okay? If they copy your move or mirror your move, for example, d5. Now, I'm just playing example moves for black. So black, if you're playing like against a really terrible opponent, they might go h6. They might go knight h6, okay? Like the worst moves you can find. They might go a5, okay? Just a bunch of moves that don't make much sense, okay? So, but usually they'll play the d5. So I will play black's move as they would usually play it, okay? So, this is the queen's pawn opening. We have put the two queen's pawns, the queen's pawn, right? We have put them in the center. This is the queen's pawn opening. All right. Now we will play the move bishop to f4 right here. Now, when you look at the bishop, we want to look at what squares does it control. Well, the bishop can go here. It can go here, here. The bishop can go here, 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 and here. But it cannot. It can go backwards, but we usually don't want to look at backward spaces because they're not. There's no point in moving it backwards unless you're being attacked, right? So you want to attack unless you're being attacked. So these are the squares the bishop can currently move to. Also, if we look a little ahead, it could take there. Now, not right now because, for example, if black does anything and you just take, you're losing a pawn at the cost of a bishop, and that's obviously terrible, okay? So you don't want to do that. Okay, bishop to f4. Now you see. Now you got to look at the diagonals that the bishop is controlling. Now black can do whatever they want, all right? We will have them play knight to f6, which is very common for the accelerated London. Now we will play the move knight to c3. Now, this is not a very good move in terms of the absolute best move you should play when you're, for example, playing a tournament with very high-rated players. Usually you want to go knight f3 because the knight in front of the c-pawn in queen's pawns openings isn't always good. Now, that's a little advanced. I mean, you usually want to go knight d2, c3, c3, e3 in the accelerated London, but that's for later on, okay? Right now, we're learning a basic trap, okay? We're going to play the move knight to c3, which isn't always recommended. Sorry. Knight to c3, and so when we see the knight, we should always look, if we have time, where is this knight attacking? We see the squares that this knight controls. All right, this right here is called the knight's wheel. if we bring the knight all the way like this, it looks kind of like a wheel. See the squares the knight controls? But we only want to look ahead of us, not behind us unless our piece is being attacked. So these are the squares that can go to march forward into enemy territory, right? A4, B5, D5, and E4. Okay? So now black, which doesn't know what they're doing. Who doesn't know what they're doing? For example, E6. E6 is a move that they do know what they're doing, but E6, all right? And now we will unleash the first move of the sequence for the trap. We'll play the move knight to B5. Now, the computer may not like this the best because there are many ways. The computer assumes that black knows how to stop this trap. The computer assumes that black knows how to stop this trap because black assumes the computer is rated 3000. Okay? No human is rated 3000. Okay? Black assumes they are, the computer assumes they are black, so they will obviously give a different evaluation. Okay, knight to b5. Now, what does this do? Now, when we have more than one piece out in the board, we want to see, are there any squares that both the knight and the bishop control? Well, let's now look ahead. We'll look ahead. These are the squares the knight controls ahead of it. We'll look at the bishop. The bishop controls here, here, here. These are the squares ahead of it, and it controls right here. Right here. Both the knight and the bishop control the c7 square. Right? Isn't that cool? Now, we will now assume that black has no clue what they're doing, and they play g6, for example, which is a blunder to feed each other their bishop, okay? Now, we will unleash the trap. The trap is by moving this knight. Knight takes c7. That's the trap. And I'll explain to you why is this so deadly for the beginner players that don't exactly understand what's going on. Well, there's the king and the rook. The king is in check by the knight, right? Now, some very beginners might think, can't the queen just take the knight? Well, the queen can't take the knight, but that would be even more blunderful because then the bishop will take the queen. So the queen can take the knight, but that would be a blunder. So we're going to assume just for the sake of brevity that the queen cannot take the knight because it would be a blunder to the bishop. Okay, so when when the king is put in check, we have to look: can the king move from check? Can the piece be captured? The piece that is putting the king in check, can that be captured? Or we have to look, can we, what's the last one? Can we block the check? Yes, can we block the check? Okay. Knight to e2. Knight e8. The knight is attacking the e8 king. And you can't block a knight because the knight can jump over all the pieces, so you can't really block it from being put in check. We can take the knight, but we already discussed that that's a blunder, and so the only thing left is for the king to move. So the king can move either here or here. Okay, we're gonna have the king move to d7. Okay, king to d7. And now what do we see from this position first? What we see is, what is the knight attacking? Well, let's always look forward. The knight is attacking the king, which must move, and the knight is attacking the rook. This is what's known as a fork. Check out my forks video to see what a fork is. I actually show this position, this example in that video. If we add the little handle, it kind of looks like a fork. See, but that is known as a fork. The knight is attacking two different pieces. Okay, so the king moves, and now as a result of our fork, we get to take the other piece we were attacking. This is an absolute fork because the king must get out of the fork, and now we just win the rook. And winning a rook is very good. If you're up a rook, you're usually going to win the game. Now here, black can play a number of moves. Black is losing though. Black doesn't want to lose this knight, for example, to the bishop. And now, I'll just tell you something right now. If you do accomplish this trap, if you do get to take the rook on a8, then what I would like to say is simplify. When you're up material, you're up here 5 points, you want to trade as many pieces as you want, okay? You want to trade the knights for the bishops for the knights, you want to trade queens, you want to trade rooks, you want to trade everything down to the bare bones parliament, right to the bare of it. So that we are able to simplify the position and win the game, because the less pieces, the less clutter there is all over the board, the easier it is to see your way straight through the board, promote a pawn maybe all the way to the end, get a queen, and checkmate from there. Check out the checkmate with 2 rooks, for example, or the checkmate with 1, or checkmate with a queen, okay? So that is how you should win the game after you have won the rook. After you've won the rook, just simplify everything, trade all the pieces down, and you should be able to win that game, unless they resign here. I've had many people resign here, okay? So let's review the trap, and then after every trap, I will tell you how as black or as white you can stop the trap. Okay, so the trap goes d4. Black will play whatever they want. Bishop to f4, right? Already eyeing c7. we'll play knight to f3, and we'll play knight to f6 and knight to c3. Then we will play, for example, e6, and we will play knight to b5. Now we're eyeing c3 with both pieces. Remember that, okay? And then black will not know what they're doing. They'll play g6. Then we will take the pawn with the knight, not with the bishop. Don't take the pawn with the bishop. Take the pawn with the knight. Check, and it's attacking the rook. King moves, and we win the rook. Okay, that is the trap. If you want, review this part of the video over and over again to see what the trap is exactly. Okay, then simplify the position and win from there. Now, how does black defend? Let's switch the board. When white plays e4, they are totally safe to play e5. When they play bishop f4, they are totally safe to play knight f6, e6. They're totally safe to play so far. After knight to c3, since this is considered a mistake by the engine, you can play, or an inaccuracy or whatever, you can play any move so far, okay? Usually bishop f5. Now, I wouldn't want to move this knight until you see if the knight is coming here to b5, okay? And I'll show you why in a second. Bishop f5, for example, is good. Now, as soon as you see, wham, knight b5 to attack your c7 square, you can see how can I defend this? There's only one good move here, according to me. How can I defend from my pawn being taken and my king and rook being forked? Well, the way we can do this is to defend this square. Give it an extra defender so that we won't be losing material. And the move here is knight to a6. What does knight to a6 do? It looks like knights on the rim are dim. What happened to that? Well, knights on the rim are dim, but not if you're going to avoid a fork. Okay, knight to a6, and now what happens if white just plays it? Then we have enough defenders because black just took a pawn. We take an entire knight. They take our knight back, but then we get the bishop. So we are now up material. They have made a terrible blunder because we have what is known as sufficiently defended this square. We have 2 defenders, and they have 2 attackers. So if they hit first, we're going to end up winning out of it, okay? So knight to a6, remember, that's the key move. As soon as you see them come here, as soon as you see knight b5, think knight a6, and that calmly defends c7, and you can continue playing chess from there. You can even, for example, try to kick out the knight later on with the pawns, for example, with a queen, and you will just have a nice game. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That trap. We will move on to the next trap. I hope you can win games with it. I was about to end the video there for some reason. No, we are continuing. All right. That is the accelerated London system trap, something like that. We will see another trap for white now, okay? Now, this is very, very similar to the trap that I just explained to you, but it starts with e4. It starts with e4. Black almost always plays e5, sometimes e6 French or c5 Sicilian, c6 Caro-Kann, okay? We'll have them play e5. Okay, now what we will do is unleash the exact same thing with these, but it's with the opposite pieces, because look, I'll play you the trap really fast. Okay, they will do whatever they want, and when we jump, and then we will jump here. Look at that. It's the exact same thing. It's just on the other side. Okay. Now I know that looks. Wait, what? What did you do? I will explain. Okay. E4, E5. But there's something you ought to be aware of in this trap. We will go knight. We will go knight to F3. Just attack the pawn. They will usually play knight to c6, okay? Knight to c6, which defends the pawn. Now you will play bishop to c4. See how this is like an exact mirror from before? So if I go point the arrows here and I draw opposite color arrows here, this is the exact same thing, just backwards on the king's side, okay? So knight to f3 and then bishop to c4. Now what are we eyeing this time? When we jump the knight back in, we are eyeing f7. That's the square we're looking at right now, f7, okay? Now, black will play whatever they want. For example, let's have them play b5, b6. Now, you may think, all right, I'm going to jump here and go here. I'm going to jump here and go here. This is known as the fried liver attack, okay? Not with the exact move black's making, but white is attempting a fried liver, okay? It sounds weird. Yes, I know. Okay, now, we don't want to jump here immediately because that's a blunder. What happened? The queen. Oopsie. We don't want to do that. What we want to do is prepare this move by playing d3. Now you may think, how does this prepare this move? Well, now, if black still doesn't know what they're doing, and we play knight to g5, now black's queen can't. Technically, they can, but they'd be losing miserably. Technically, so we'll say that they can't take the knight because now the bishop defends it. Okay, bishop defends the knight. The queen is worth way more than the bishop. So if they ever do take, remember, haha, I have my bishop and I'm going to take your queen back. Okay, so we have to prepare the move because it's slightly different. It's slightly different on this side, right? When you go bishop c4, they go here, for example. You do not want to jump in immediately. You want to prepare the move, go d3, and then hit there. Okay, so when they play, for example, bishop e7, then we will play knight g5, right? And now we're seeing moving forward, where does the bishop attack? The bishop attacks, both pieces attack right here, okay? f7. Now, black's queen can no longer take the knight because it's sufficiently defended by our friendly bishop. Black still has no clue what they're doing, and they play this move, okay? So, now it is white's turn. White will unleash the exact same thing, just on the king's side, like the previous trap. Knight takes f7. Okay, now we have to be aware that this is not check. It is not check. The king does not have to move because the king is not in check, but it's still a fork and it's still as venomous because guess what? It's attacking two super powerful pieces, the rook and the queen. The rook and the queen are the two most powerful pieces other than the king, who has to be saved because they're a little baby in a crib that has to be saved the entire game. Just kidding. They're very powerful in the end game. Trust me. Okay. So this is a fork because the knight, which is of lesser value, is attacking the queen and the rook. Now we say, wow. Now to the beginners, why you might say, why can't I just take the knight? Well, because it is defended by the knight, by the bishop. This makes this move, king takes f7, is actually illegal because they would be putting themselves in check by the bishop. So if your sibling or parent tries to play knight to f7, king takes f7, tell them, I'm sorry, you can't do that because my bishop on c4 defends my knight on f7, okay? You can sound smart like that, okay? When they play a move, sorry, they would not play their king. So which piece would black most likely want to defend after this? Their queen, because the queen is more powerful than the rook. So they slide the queen over, and then you do the exact same thing. You win the rook, and you have literally just won a rook. You will do the exact same thing as before, just simplify the position, get it down to the bare bones parliament, get it down to the bare bones of the game, push a pawn to the end, get a queen, checkmate. That's all you got to do from here. Just simplify everything, trade down everything, do not blunder, castle your king to safety, and develop your pieces, and trade everything down because you're up a rook, okay? That is how you should win this game. Now, we will see for the defense, but first we will review the game. How can you defend as black? But first we will review the trap, okay? e4, e5, the king's pawn this time instead of this, okay? Knight to f3, attacking the pawn. Usually always knight to c6 is played by black. Bishop c4, now we're preparing this, right? b6, I'm just making black play moves. Now, if you see them defend against it, obviously you wouldn't want to play the trap. We're going to see how black can defend against it in a moment. Knight to oh, sorry, see, even I made the mistake. We got to go d3 first. d3 first to set up knight to g5. Remember that extra move. Remember that extra move. Remember that extra move, d3. Don't just play this immediately thinking, oh, I'm just going to play this. Remember the extra move, d3, so that you can free up the square so that your knight can no longer be taken by the queen, okay? So, d3 now, and black plays, for example, bishop e7, and we will play knight to g5, right? The knight goes to g5, and now we see that both pieces are eyeing the f7 square. Okay, now black still does not know what we're doing. We'll make them play e5, and now we will play knight takes f7 check. Sorry, not check. Knight takes f7. That means that now we are threatening the rook, and we are threatening the queen. Black will most likely move their queen if they know what they're doing to some degree, and then we will take the rook, and we will be up 5 points of material, and we should win the game by there by just simplifying everything down. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that trap, and I won't see you in the next video because this video is continuing, okay? Last and final trap, okay? So that's known as the fried liver attack. Review this part of the video to see what you can, how many games you can win with this, and just memorize the trap and play it. Remember that move though, d3. When the knight is here and it tries to jump here, this queen, if they have moved their king's pawn, will try to attack will try to take your knight. So remember to push this so that the bishop will now defend g5, okay? Good. Okay, last trap. It is another e4 trap. I believe this is for black. Just a second. I'm sorry, I lied. This is another trap for white. White will get the advantage here. Next video, we'll have probably some more traps for black. Okay, white will win material again in this time. Okay, so if you only watch this video, then try to play white as much as you can. When you watch the next video about the black traps for black in the opening, then you could play either one because you know all the traps. That video is not out yet though. Don't go searching for it. It is not here. I will post that video soon. 3 weeks probably, because I got to do a chess game tutorial. Those are always fun, and I got to do a middle games video. Okay, so here we go. We will also play this, start this trap with the move e4, pawn to e4, and pawn to e5. Okay, this move, pawn to e5, is necessary for you to complete the trap. Okay, I'm telling you right now, pawn to e5 is a necessary move. Okay, now I'll play knight to f3, just like the fried liver, going to hunt down like this. Okay, like the fried liver. Okay, knight to f3, just like before. Knight to f3. Now they will, instead of playing knight to c6, they will play knight to f6. This is the Petrov's defense, and I covered also. I have a video on just all about lines and things in the Petrov's defense, and I explained to you this trap in the Petrov's defense. I'm just showing it to you again in this video for traps in the opening. Okay, knight to f3 and knight to f6. If you don't want to scroll all throughout the Petrov's defense video just to see the trap, then you have the trap right here. You have a bunch of traps you can learn. 3 traps in this video, 3 traps in another video, maybe more traps in the future. Okay, so knight to f6. This is kind of the copycat. I attack your pawn, you attack mine. You attack my pawn, I attack yours type scenario, right? You're attacking their pawn, and then they get to attack yours back. That's literally all it is. That's the Petrov's defense, okay? Now, what we will do, the main line Petrov's defense, what you should usually be playing is after takes d6 and knight back to f3. Now, that is covered in the Petrov's defense video, but we will assume that black does not play the main line, and they play this right here. They play knight takes e4. Now, this is not the main line, and this is not actually bad and terrible. White is up 1 because of this move, because they will get quick development and kick the knight out. But anyway, I'll tell you what I mean. Now, the second move for the trap, after you've seen this position with the knights in the middle of opposing colors and the pawns traded off, the move you must play is queen to e2. That attacks the knight, right? That's not that hard to see. Now, black has a number of options. Black has the entire knight's wheel to move their knight to. Obviously, we're not going to show the blunder ones, although they're all blunders. Okay, you'll see. I know that sounds like a contradiction, but you'll see. The knight has all these squares to move to. It doesn't want to move here because it would be blundered to the pawns. It doesn't want to move here because it would blunder to the queen. Here, queen, and here, pawn, right? So it's only going to move to one of these 4 squares, okay? It doesn't matter where it moves to. This move, this move, ultra powerful, so good, epic move that you win the queen. Yes, you'll see what I mean. I know you don't understand that right now, unless you're a pretty intermediate player that just hasn't gone past the hasn't learned this trap yet. Okay, queen to e2. Now we'll assume the knight moves, and now I'll explain to you why is this move so good. Okay, this move is epic because the king, this is what is called a discovered check. See, the only thing in between this king and this queen is the knight. So if the knight moves, it is still check. It is still check, which means these pawns can't take, because as soon as the king is in check, black must drop everything and get the king out of check. So what are our things for getting out of check? We can capture the piece that is putting the king in check. In this case, the queen is putting the king in check. Can we capture this? No, there's no piece that can capture it. We can move the king. Right? We can move the king. Can the king move at all? No, the king cannot move. The king's only legal square is there, and it would still be putting himself in check by the queen. Okay, and last one, can we block? The only thing we can do is block. Okay, we can block with either the knight or the queen or the bishop. So right now, if I try to take the pawn with the knight, won't let me. I'll say king's in check, right? It won't let you. So it won't let you because your king is in check. You must drop everything. So let's say black defends with the bishop. Now, you see, the reason we place this knight here is so that now our next move can be to win the queen. Is that amazing? Yes. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what? I don't quite get that. Or maybe you do. Maybe you understand it very well. Let's go back. Okay, we will play queen to e2, and then when black moves the knight anywhere, we move the knight here, okay? We don't want to move the knight just anywhere saying, haha, I get discovered check. No, we want to move the knight right here, knight c6. Knight c6, okay? Knight to c6. This right here opens up the king, right? So now they're in check. They cannot take with the pawns because they're in check. They can only block on this e7 square with the bishop or the queen. Even if they block with the queen, you still win the queen next on the next move. Now I might think, for very, very beginners, why would I take this? It would just be losing my knight for the queen. Well, let me tell you something. The queen is far more powerful than that. Definitely sacrifice the knight for the queen, okay? Now, that is the trap, okay? Now we will see, what if after this, what if black does not play any knight move out, okay? What if black does not go here and you go knight to c6? Remember that move? That's the move for the Petrov defense trap, knight c6. Remember that. Knight c6, and you will win the game from there. Definitely, when you're up a queen, you should definitely be able to win, okay? Knight c6. Now, what if black does not move the knight? Now, if black tries to just play a random move, just take the knight. You didn't get the trap you wanted. Now, you might even get the trap you wanted, because after they go here, you go here still. It's still discover check, and you still win the queen, okay? But you might not get the trap you wanted if they just blunder their knight, but at least you're up a knight. At least you just got a clean knight, okay? You just won a knight if they don't defend their knight. Now, if they here play a move like to defend their knight, then what you can do is, for what I would recommend for you is, for example, let's say they go here, okay? What I would recommend for you is play a move that attacks the knight. Okay, just play a move that attacks the knight. Play this move or play this move. Okay, play a move that attacks the knight. So that now, if the knight moves, we still get that. We still get this move right here. I know the board looks a bit mangled, but we still get the move here. The queen and the bishop can only block here. After queen blocks, for example, say we take there. We take there, and we're cleanly winning. Now, remember, do not take here with the queen, because that isn't that good, because now it's just a bunch of trades. You're up a little, you're not up anything at all, actually, sorry. That's why you want to make sure you take with the knight first, because we want to capture with the least valuable pieces first. So take here, okay? Then if they take here, do not take here, because then you just lose your queen to the bishop, okay? And that's not good, okay? So don't take there. Take with your least valuable piece, okay? So we will see. What if black plays a move that defends the knight? Well, we will attack it, and now black can't do anything. For example, black can move anywhere on the knight's wheel, but all those places, if it moves away over here, we just play the Petrov's defense move, knight to c6, which wins us the queen, right? For example, if they go here, then we go knight c6 check, same thing. Okay, and then we just win. Okay, great. So. Yes. So if your pawn, if they try to defend their knight with a pawn, then you will attack it with one of your pawns. Okay, I would recommend d3, and then they can move anywhere backwards, but then you have your move knight to c6, which wins you the queen, as you saw. Okay, sorry. You have any of the moves backwards, but you have knight to c6. Now they can move forward, or they could totally just abandon. They can just abandon the knight, just kill the knight, okay? In which case, you take with the pawn, don't take with the queen, because the queen is far more viable, then you just lose, okay? So, take with the pawn, and then they will take, and then you will take back, okay? So, take with the pawn, take with the least valuable piece, if they try to defend their knight, okay? And then, obviously, if they move their knight anywhere here, you just take it with the corresponding piece. You should know what piece is able to take if the knight moves to those squares. What knight here? The pawn here. The king or the queen here, the queen or the bishop or the king here, the knight or the pawn, okay? So, when you push the pawn, remember, if the knight moves backwards, you play your knight to c6 move. If the knight moves forwards, just take with the corresponding piece. If you abandon the knight, just take with the pawn, okay? So, that is the trap. Now, we will look at this move, queen to e7. Queen to e7, your opponent is too smart. You are up a bit. But for expert players, you'd have to really see that. You have to really see how you're up. Okay, there it goes like this, and you are up a bit, but you'll have to really work hard if you're a beginner to actually say, "Oh, this is a win." Look at it. This is a win game. One game. I'm gonna win this game because I'm up 1 point. No. Okay. If they play queen to e7, here after you attack the pawn, then they're pretty smart. They're pretty smart, and they're not going to fall for it, okay? That's the only move you got to watch out for. If they play queen e7, just, for example, you could retreat your knight, or you could do the massive trade. I would recommend do the massive trade, okay? Just so that you don't, for example, blunder this, okay? Just do the massive trade. Just take here, they will take back, and you can take here, for example. And they can actually take because they'd be putting themselves in check by the queen, okay? So, review now. Let's see that again. We go e4, e5, knight to f3, right? Attacking e5, and knight to f6, the copycat, right? And then we go queen to e2. Oh, sorry. We take the pawn, and then they take back, right? All these moves are required for this trap. Then we play queen e2. If the knight moves at all, just check. If the knight moves at all, then we go discover the check. And then if the queen blocks or bishop blocks, if the bishop blocks, we just take the we just take the queen with the knight, okay? So that is if bishop blocks. If queen blocks, we still just take like this, and that is the trap. That is the trap. And look for all the other things if black plays different moves, okay? So let's go back to the main screen. I hope you guys really enjoy this video. Play these 3 traps when you are white, win games with them, and yeah, just do that, and you'll be winning many more games if you know these traps. And then you have seen the defenses to them. Oh, whoa. I apologize. I did not show you the defense for the Petrov's defense trap. Well, the defense is here. It's really quick. If they take here, do not take back. So just avoid all the risks at all. Play this move d6. Okay, play this move d6 right here, and then to kick the knight out, and then you can take back your pawn. You can say, hee, I got your pawn. Okay, and then here they'll probably play a move like queen e7 to attack your pawn and your knight, and you can't move the knight because your king would be put in check. So you might think, oh no, just block with the queen e7, and then if they take, they just blunder it because then you take there, right? So then they might attack you. They might attack your pawn and your knight again, but now you're safe to move it, because this would just be a trade of queens, right? This would just be a trade of queens, and you are now free to move your knight because your king would not be pinned anymore. Your king would be, there would be some other piece blocking, so it wouldn't be check anymore, okay? That is how to defend against the Petrov's defense. Just as soon as you see them take the pawn, don't immediately think, take back. No, just play d6, kick the knight back out, and then you will take on e4, okay? Back to the main. Oh, whoa. I'm sorry. I did not tell you how to stop the Petrov's defense trap, okay? When they go like this, and you go here, and they take, as soon as you see them take, do not say, haha, take back. No. Play the move d6. Play the move d6, kick the knight out, and then take back, so that you're safe. So then when they come and attack you like this, you can block, and then there's no more stuff like, because the knight isn't even here anymore, so the knight can't come here to attack your queen and stuff like that, okay? The trap is just completely over. You have defended it successfully. So remember, as soon as you see them take the pawn, don't take back, don't snap take back. Just push the pawn, get the knight out, and then take back your new material, okay? So as soon as they move back, you take back, and then if they play queen e2, you might think, oh no, I can't move my knight at all, because your king would be put in check. Just defend it with your queen, and then if they go to attack it again, just move it, because it's no longer check, because your queen is in the way, okay? So, now we can go back to main. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Win with these traps, and you'll win many more games. And I hope to see you guys in the next video, the middle games video. Then we'll have a chess game tutorial, and then I will show you guys some traps for black, which are a little more complicated. Okay, just so you know, the traps for black are a little more complicated. Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next video, and goodbye.